But as soon as I came in earlier, I walked through and I thought, geez, that is a small door. I measured it earlier. The clear space is 29 inches. So clear space means going from the door jamb right here all the way to this corner right here, because that's the reality of what needs to clear when you're going through this space. And this is my tiny, tiny little transport chair, which is really the smallest of the bunch. If you start getting ones with wheel rims on it, forget about it. That's gonna be knuckle scraping for sure. So we got through here. I mean, it's a tight squeeze, but we can do it. So as I come in here, there's a light switch right there, which is great. It turns it on. But I had to walk through this entire space in the dark because the only other light was over there. And you've got a tiny little switch over there, and I've got to get all the way there. So I packed my little night lights, my motion activated ones. I'm going to put them down in here so that walking to the bathroom at night will be okay. The funny thing is that the bathroom door is actually bigger clear space because this door can swing all the way back, and it gives me, I think when I measured it, it was a 30 right here. So that went really pretty much smoother. Got it in all the way over here. And you know, if this was a commode seat, it looks like if the leg rests were up, I would be able to pull it all the way over there. So that is a good thing. There is enough space for a straight shot. But since this is an accessible room and not one, they only have one in the hotel that's a roll in bathroom. This one, let's see here. So the foot plates would be able to get under there. It's probably about as close as you're gonna get to that space. So hopefully if you've got good trunk control, you scoot over there, but it's pretty tall to that counter. You know, it might be a bit of a reach to get all the way over there to the faucet. So it would be something to consider. When I was in here earlier, I took a bath, or I'm sorry, I took a shower, and I thought, that is quite the angle for that grab bar. I mean, you know, and I tried to get into the mind of who installed it and what the reasoning was behind it. So I sat in the tub earlier and I thought, oh, I wonder if maybe they were thinking, you know, okay, you're gonna go up that thing with one hand at a time all the way up that thing. But wow, I mean, I have good upper body strength, but it was pretty tough. And I wondered, you know, if somebody who needed a grab bar to get out of there, would they have the upper body strength to do it? So, you know, another potential option that I've seen before at other hotels that I've stayed at have two vertical bars right here. And I actually like that situation because then you're using the push method. You can push down on the bottom one until you can get a little higher and then come up to the second one. It's almost like a stepwise staircase. Because trying to use your grip strength like this over here, it's really non-ergonomic, so you're not gonna get a solid grasp to be able to get what you need to do. You know, my other thing that I had noticed in the shower when I was taking it was that when you have it at such an angle like this, it also doesn't function as a grab bar in standing. I mean, that was clearly put in there for getting out of the tub. Because if you're standing up and I got suddenly dizzy, well, now I've got a downhill angle going down the other way. So that really doesn't make any sense. And you know, the top of it's so rounded that that's definitely not going to be something that you're going to hold on to for steadying support. So if you were a little dizzy or you tilted your head back and because of vestibular stuff, you know, you're getting a little bit of dizziness, it's really not my favorite. One of the other things I noticed in here was that there was no bar on this side of the wall, which is usually the threshold bar. It's to get over this, the size of the tub right here. So normally you would have at least one bar to hold on to so that you could weight shift to one leg and step over it. So in this situation, it seems like it's really just to make sure nobody gets stuck in the tub. So as we came in here, the thing that I noticed was that there was enough space getting through this initial part. So I think when I measured it, it was about 42 inches. So that was great. But we start getting a little on the squishy side over here. And I'll back up a little bit. You can see, you know, I mean, we could do it, but this is the tiniest chair, remember? And definitely trying to clear this space behind the desk. Also a bit of a challenge. You can see it's pretty tight. I was thinking about if I were staying here, let's say in a hurricane evacuation, what side a client, what side would I put that person on? And you know, the obvious would be to use this side because it's got a bit more space. It's kind of a tight turn in here. Earlier I had the wheelchair in that corner and it really was tough to get over. You really have to do some of that lifting up and kind of moving it. But there's a chair there. I mean, we could probably do a little rearranging and get kind of close. If somebody was the kind of person who could just stand up and pivot, this might be fine. In fact, it might even be good because they could lean forward, put their hands up on that chair, and then get onto the bed. Now the bed is a little bit high. You can see the difference between the height of the chair versus the height of the wheelchair. I mean, you know, if it was somebody a little on the frail side, I would worry a little that they wouldn't be able to get up there, or you'd get half a butt cheek up there and then, you know, that they'd be at risk of sliding down. So you would really need to be watching that and making sure, you know, my OT brain goes, well, maybe I could stick my luggage right there and they could put their foot onto it and scoot themselves up there. But of course that would depend on how good their stomach muscles are, because if they aren't very good, even that roundedness, the slight roundedness on this suitcase is not going to be safe enough, I think, to warrant that. But hopefully you'd always have somebody there. You can see the little light switch. Really, you would have to walk across the room all the way over just to get to that light switch. Like, oh, it seems like a long way to go without light and no other access in there. And definitely I could see toes getting mashed in here. So just for reference, you know, numbers are great and everything, but nothing like seeing, you know, that's what it would look like if you were going to try to do the transfer on this side. And you know what? I mean, it's possible. Maybe that would work, you know, especially if you're going to stand up and move around there. And you could use that wheelchair. We could turn this thing around, make ourselves almost like a little half bed rail that I love to just make sure people don't fall out of the chair. So we could, maybe you would get the patient into the bed, and or you could do it this way. Just depends on how the patient is able to get in and out. But maybe we lock those brakes in the back, and now that becomes kind of a little barrier right there so they don't roll out of bed. So these are the kinds of things that I consider when I'm walking through a space like this and thinking in my head, if somebody had to evacuate a loved one that was in a chair or just, you know, maybe not able to walk longer distances and needed a little extra help, what is it that they would have trouble with? I earlier tried putting the wheelchair underneath the desk. It seemed okay. It's about the same height as this chair here. So that was a really good thing. I noticed that, you know, over here, if I was here alone, trying to get the curtains, that's the shade down there, it's a little bit on the small side. I mean, I really have to tug pretty hard to get that up and down, and see what the position of my hands, I really need to be pulling on that. So it's a little bit difficult. I've seen other Marriotts that have built they have these little circles that are so much friendlier. You can just pull them over. But, you know, this is a small little hotel and it's probably what they've got there. So here we are. You know, if I was going to make suggestions to management, I would definitely say that potentially trying to find a way to make those that door just a little wider to make life easier. I'm not really sure if a swing clear hinge would be appropriate in there, if you could do that. I can see that this door here probably could sustain a swing clear. It's got the typical hinges, but I'm not sure with that exterior one. And then I would say definitely that they should consider doing those bars maybe in 2 horizontal lines. They can make them beautiful, maybe even with little wave patterns. That would be beautiful. And sticking something over here. And definitely considering, you know, the bar, or maybe even a fold down bar right here, so that somebody would have support to push up and down from the toilet. Because they did really well. This toilet's actually not that bad. It's I think it was 19 inches tall. I've actually been to other newer hotels where they still put in, you know, 16, I think it was 14, somewhere between 14 and 16 inch tall toilets. And I thought, who's still doing this kind of thing, especially in a newer hotel? That's just insane. But I don't love where the toilet paper holder is. I wonder if there was a way to put that in a different spot, but you know, they're kind of stuck. But they don't have any kind of support to get up and down. I know people often say that they use the counter to do that, but you can see, you know, that you get water on the counter, and if you put your hand up there, you could slip. And when I'm looking at that distance, I can already tell that if anybody has a shoulder issue on the left-hand side, there's no chance they're getting their hand up there. Definitely no chance that they're going to be able to bear weight on there and be able to truly push themselves up from there and get really any kind of leverage. So getting up from a toilet, you always want to weight shift forward. But if you weight shift forward here, there's really not a lot of stuff that can help balance me out as we go. And you can see how shiny those floors are. Definitely a potential slip hazard there. So probably trying to make that a little bit less shiny. It's having something that you could pull back down here would be great. So, all right, I think that's all.